Tal Blevins. Welcome. Good to have you. Good to be here. And also joining us today, Executive Editor of Previews at the One Up Network, Mr. Garnett Lee. Thanks so much for dropping by.
Absolutely, Adam. Thanks for having me, man.
So, Tal, when you were out there in Old Gay Paris, there was one big reveal at that Ubisoft event, and it was Beyond Good and Evil 2. We had heard it might come, but the original game wasn't that successful. What's behind Ubisoft's thought that this one might actually, connect with the gamers out there?
Well, it was a fan favorite. It was one of those games that everybody who played it, even though it wasn't very many, everybody seemed to really like it, kind of call it the next Zelda, really. It's a franchise that I think it's in the hearts of gamers. And I think Ubisoft really saw that and were like, you know what, let's give it another chance. I think Michel Ancel really wanted to go forward with the project. So even though it wasn't a commercial success, I think they want to see if they can get it going now with word of mouth.
Now, Garnett, obviously we don't know much about this game at all, but do you think that the time is right for Beyond Good and Evil to actually really find its audience it didn't find before?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm just excited to see it. I think that even Ubisoft, many people there were excited to see it. It seemed like that came up to the stage almost as a sort of, hey, we actually got this together in time. And it's really interesting, the approach. I mean, we had this neat game that had this colorful style, very aquatic and spacey. And here the trailer they showed us is out in the middle of the desert with this abandoned car and the pig working or just actually taking a nap at the front of it. It's neat stuff. I'm really excited to see what they're doing with it.
Now, Tal, another game that's obviously been shown off is something we're very familiar with, and that's Prince of Persia, but it's definitely gotten a much different look and a much different approach to how the gameplay is going to go. Is it essential that they move in this new direction, or they just decide to try something else?
Well, I'm kind of wondering myself because they have the movie deal coming up. It really looks like the lead character looks like Jake Gyllenhaal. The secondary character, in my opinion, looks like Natalie Portman, so I wonder if we're going to hear an announcement about that. But it really seems like they're tying in the movie with this one. It's also cel-shaded. You have it's not co-op, but you kind of have the companion character in the game taking you around. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm a big fan of the Prince of Persia franchise, so I'm looking forward to seeing it. But I'm kind of interested to see how the whole companion character combo fighting is going to work out, since it's not actually a co-op game.
Now, Garnett,
it's the Deus Ex Machina, instead of having the player have the code, just have a AI assistant that you basically manipulate and control. Oh, by the way, I want to jump to this location, or give me this inventory,
give me this buff. The part of the prince, and now making the prince into more like this universal concept of a character that can be molded into many different vehicles. So, we can do comic books, and we can do movies, and we can do games, and I think it's exciting, at least from the game standpoint, of being able to see a whole other sort of Arabian Nights-themed game that still has the tie back to Prince of Persia, but can go in a new direction and isn't, tied to everything that's come before it.
And Tal, obviously there's one game that's very notable for its absence. That would be Splinter Cell Conviction. We had actually seen it, a while ago. It went quiet. We still haven't seen anything. Any sense what is happening with this game?
We haven't heard anything about Splinter Cell in a while. I imagine we'll hear something at E3. But I think, it's Ubisoft's tactic. They know they have a valuable franchise on their hands, and they don't want to just rush another game out and perhaps, ruin what Splinter Cell could become in the future, especially since they paid so much for the Tom Clancy license now. I think they're just being really careful about it and want to make sure it's as polished and as good as it can be before they release that.
Now, Garnett, on the topic of how much money that Ubisoft spends, they've announced that they have $1.2 billion that they want to use to acquire other companies, a la what EA's been doing and what Activision has been doing. Do you think this is an essential move for them to stay competitive as a third-party publisher?
Well, I'm not really a business analyst, but I think that even if you're just casual follower of the stock markets, there's two places for business to be. You're either contracting or you're expanding. And Ubisoft committing to going out there and acquiring new talent, bringing new studios in, is really firmly them saying, you know what, we're not going to be one of the ones that are acquired. We're going to be doing the growing. We're going to be staying large. And I like that because they've been very, emphatic about doing new IP as well as sequels. So I think that's a good sign.
And you know what? They really do have one of the most diverse catalogs I've seen out of a third-party publisher. Well, guys, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much.
In my opinion, Ubisoft is potentially getting ready to challenge EA, or at least put themselves in such a position that EA is going to have to deal with them on a lot of different products because they're just going to dominate so many different areas, and so conceivably that will cause EA to develop a working relationship with BioWare. So that way, any content BioWare creates or Ubisoft creates
Robert Ludlum's The Bourne Conspiracy is an adaptation of the events of the first film, with plenty of flashbacks to our heroes' not-so-noble past.
And support.
Who knew that your memories would be so heavy on MasterCard product placement?